I turn off my alarm and stretch, then let out a groan. Yesterday was a really intense day, and I'm certainly feeling it now. At least this Friday. With a regretful sigh, I roll out of bed and prepare for my classes. I grab a quick breakfast and drive to school. Yuna is waiting for me in class and smiles broadly when I sit down next to her. Hi, Yuna.
Hey! Sorry we haven't had a chance to catch up. How did your meeting go with Yuri?
It wasn't as bad as I anticipated, even though he asked a lot of questions.
About Eagle?
No, he was interested in my team back at CINY. She blinks in genuine surprise.
Oh, I was under the impression he was curious about Eagle.
It's okay, I didn't mind. Clearly he did his homework about how teams are run in the States because he didn't seem surprised by anything I shared. Yuna nods.
There's a reason why he's the youngest account manager to manage a team at Dashu.
Fair enough. Have you talked with him yet?
Yes. He said that you show a lot of promise, and he's confident that if the rest of your teammates are as determined as you are, then you'll definitely be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, hopefully they are then. That's it? She furrows her brow in concern.
Yeah. Should he have said anything else?
I guess he was serious when he said I should talk to her about her brother. Actually, maybe now isn't the right time to bring up this conversation. Yeah, not in the middle of class. When else would we get? Let's talk about it later. Bombarding her right before class begins doesn't seem like very smart timing. The professor will get here and start class before we really have a chance to talk, and Yuna will probably spend all of class stressing out about this. We had a good conversation, so I was just wondering if he had any other thoughts.
Oh, no. But I'm glad to hear you enjoyed the conversation too.
He seems like he'll be easy to work with. Yuna nods.
He is.
I glance at her and nod. The professor enters the room and gets settled.
Good morning, everyone. Please open your textbooks to page 81.
Yeah, I agree though. Class wasn't the right time to really ask about that. I don't know if I'll get the chance outside of class, considering I usually choose to go see other people. But yeah, if that never happens, it never happens. Whatever. Yuna and I pack up our things and walk out of class together. Do you have any other class to go to?
No, but I have to meet my physiotherapy professor. I'm a TA for his class.
I didn't know you were a TA.
Yep. I don't usually help out in his Friday classes, but he's holding exams today, so I need to be there.
So she's a TA and a volunteer for the SBA.
Do you have any other classes?
No, but I'm kind of hungry. I'll grab lunch in the pilot's lounge. Her face lights up.
Oh, you're lucky. They're supposed to have really good food.
They do, and they have options from other countries. I had a cheeseburger once from there. Yuna's eyes grow wide. Where's he possibly?
I love cheeseburgers.
Really? So much in common. Doesn't the dining hall serve them too? She wrinkles her nose.
I don't think what they serve in the dining hall can even be considered food.
Fair enough. Where do you eat lunch?
The hot dog cart.
Oh! Oh yeah, I forgot we had a hot dog stand. I didn't know anyone actually ate there.
You should try it. They're so good.
You really like American food, don't you?
Yes.
Yuna checks the time.
Oops, I'm going to be late. I'll see you later.
Bye. Alright, I wave as she dashes off. Alone, I make my way to the pilot's lounge, ignoring her recommendation for the hot dogs. I check out the menu on display in the lounge. There's the usual Japanese fare that I can find in the dining hall too. Today's special is, what? Neapolitan spaghetti? Neapolitan? I don't know. Popularly known as ketchup spaghetti. The bartender approaches me and waits expectantly. What does it mean choose something safe just because I don't know what ketchup spaghetti is? But I wanted to pick something healthy on the off chance I would run into Cowdy again, but I'll choose something safe. Yeah, I take another look at the regular menu. I'll just order a bento. I'll have the bento. The bartender nods. He brings me my order and I take it to an empty table. As soon as I sit down, someone slides into the seat across from me. I'm ready to apologize and ask if this table was taken when I take a good look at the girl smiling at me. May!
Is this seat taken?
No, you could sit here.
Thanks.
This is a little uncomfortable after what happened yesterday. I think she feels it too.
So, how's Cowrie?
She'll be okay. May nods.
I thought so. I
haven't seen her that upset since...
She hesitates. Since Ryota? May blinks, but seems relieved.
Oh, Kaori told you about Ryota?
Not really. Sort of. I'm not about to tell her I was listening in on their conversation a few days ago.
Did she say it was all my fault?
It was certainly implied. May sighs.
I wish I'd never said anything.
I blink. May doesn't strike me as someone who has many regrets. She's always cheerful and seems to take whatever life throws at her in stride. I believe that you meant well.
Thanks. If only Kaori could see that. I wasn't trying to ruin her friendship with Ryota, or my friendship with her. They would have been so cute together. You know, if Ryota hadn't been such a jerk. And how awesome would it have been if my two friends ended up together?
Yeah, sounds like you were excited for her.
I was! Even back then, Kaori was more reserved around people. She didn't like to show her feelings. So I was so excited when she told me she liked Ryota.
If he was such a jerk, why were you friends with him?
He wasn't always like that. Honestly, I don't know why he exploded the way he did. We used to do everything together. His family even took us on their vacations. I knew him back in elementary school when he still had huge glasses and would tell goofy jokes that were too smart to be funny. Kids used to pick on him a lot. So we entered middle school and he worked hard to change his image. He lost the glasses and became more serious. The more I think about it, the more I think he stuck with us out of obligation, rather than true feeling. We were his only friends for a long time, until he hit his growth spurt. Then all the girls were suddenly interested.
Of course. May looks thoughtful.
Actually, I think it was when the other girls started to notice him that Kaori liked him too.
Do you still keep in touch with him?
Of course not.
She hits the table for emphasis.
I told him all that stuff in confidence, thinking maybe it would give him a push to make a move. Well, he made a move, all right. He went out of his way to hurt Kaori. What kind of friend is that? That's not a person I want to associate with.
That's good. I'm glad you feel that way.
It's just frustrating that Kaori would lump me into the same category as him.
Sounds like her. This explains so much. Why even bother? I'm gonna just say this. Yeah, this explains so much. Thank you, May.
Huh? For what?
I finally understand why Kaori acts so... Kaori-like. May's eyes widen.
You think I turned her into that?
It makes sense. She's withdrawn, quick to make judgments, stubborn. And I don't want to say that she turned her into that, but just that the scenario. Yeah, May laughs.
She's sort of always been like that, I think. She's always been stubborn, at least.
If it's been so long, why do you still try so hard with her? May looks at me as if I've sprouted a third arm.
She's my friend. I left her alone for a while so she could cool off. And I admit, I was angry at her for a long time, too. But then I saw her withdraw completely. No one should be alone. I know she hasn't forgiven me yet, but she will.
Someday. Fingers crossed. How can you be so sure?
It might take her a little longer, but in the end, Kaori always sees reason.
How many years has it been, though? Because aren't we, like, in college now? And if that happened in middle school? May is completely confident that Kaori will forgive her. That must be how she can still act so familiarly with her, even though Kaori doesn't reciprocate those feelings. I have to admit, I kind of admire May for that.
Anyway, since I really didn't get the chance to say it yesterday, congrats on your win.
I blink. Oh, thanks.
But don't get used to it. Ana Bugeisha has a lot of practicing to do. It won't be that easy the next time we battle.
Right. Call that easy? You're still going to lose? This was a good fight. I say this was a good fight, yeah. If the next match we have is as good as the one we just had, I'll be satisfied. May grins.
Don't worry. Us girls won't be going down easy.
Good. From the corner of my eye, I spot Kaori and Sho enter the pilot's lounge. Sho's still alive and in one piece. Huzzah! They must have worked things out with each other. That's a relief. Kaori searches the room and briefly makes eye contact with me before glancing away. Then, to my surprise, she walks over to us. Sho follows, and May's here too! Ah! May's just as surprised when Cowdy and Sho sit with us. Yeah.
What's going on, Brosif?
Nothing much. Where's Mayu?
Class.
Ah. I look over at Cowdy. Hey, Cowdy.
Hi.
She looks sideways at May.
Hi, May.
This is like the most civil she's been so far. May doesn't react right away. Then squeals in delight and throws her arms around Cowdy.
Hi! May! Stop it!
Cowdy pulls away in a huff while May laughs. The four of us continue to chat together. The tensions felt from yesterday are completely gone, as if the day never happened. May even got Cowdy to laugh. That's good. That's really good, yeah. Eventually, we all go our separate ways as everyone heads to their class or other obligations. I still have some free time. You know, let's see Yuna now. We can see about the whole brother thing. I was, and just, you know, chatting, because we're friends and stuff. I was browsing a list of clubs and classes earlier, and Ace offers a cooking club. I remember Nikki mocking me, saying I should join when she first started her club, but maybe that isn't such a bad idea. The look on her face would be priceless if I offered to cook and it was edible. I'll go check it out. So, like, I select the option to visit Yuna, or to interact with Yuna, and instead my character's like, let's join a cooking club. The cooking class is held in the culinary building. I enter a classroom filled with multiple cooking stations already set up with ingredients. It kind of reminds me of a chemistry lab, but with stoves and ovens. In the corner of the room, I spot Yuna and claim the station beside her. Hey, Yuna. She blinks in surprise.
Oh, hey. Are you part of the cooking club?
I am now. No, I'm just dropping in today. I am not.
Me too. What brings you here?
I'd like to make a meal for Nikki.
That's really nice of you. I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
Hopefully so, yeah. I hope so. She's a whiz in the kitchen. What about you? What brings you here?
Since I quit the SBA, I've got a lot of extra time, so I've been trying out some of the other clubs Ace offers.
Didn't know you quit. When did you quit the SBA?
Right around when I got Dashu as your sponsor.
Right after. So once your job was done. Her voice holds the edge of finality. It's clear she doesn't want to talk about this further. Anything catch your interest?
A couple, but I'm still weighing my options. Besides, it's fun trying new things.
Yeah, no, that's fair. The student instructor arrives and everyone breaks away from their conversations to stand at their stations.
Welcome, everyone!
Thank you! He goes into a short message explaining who he is and the rules and structure of the club.
Now that that's out of the way, today we will be learning how to make kasutera. If you haven't already done so, please put on your aprons.
Done. I slip off my blazer and tie the apron around my waist.
First, we will preheat the oven to 160 degrees. And don't forget to line your pan with parchment paper.
Isn't that a little low? I was thinking that too, but I didn't want to say anything. Oh, you know, maybe they use like different I was gonna say different voltage, but whatever. Oh, right, it's in Celsius. Oh, or there's that.
For our dry ingredients, we will have 1 cup and 2.5 tablespoons of bread flour and 1 cup of sugar. The wet ingredients will have 6 eggs
Am I
and
supposed to be
5
writing these down?
tablespoons of honey diluted with 2.5 tablespoons of water.
I'm just gonna wait and see. At least there aren't that many ingredients. As instructed, I measure out the ingredients. Wait, I forgot to preheat the oven. What temperature should it be? It was 160, yeah. I preheat the oven to 160 degrees. That makes me think though, should I have gotten the other ingredients and stuff too? The instructor continues to provide instructions and I follow as best as I can. She's doing well. While whisking the eggs, my gaze wanders over to Yuna. She's carefully pouring flour into her measuring cup and leveling it off before dumping it in the bowl. Her tongue sticks out slightly as she concentrates. I try to hold back a chuckle when she glances at me. There's a smudge of flour on her cheek, and I can't hold back my smile. She matches my grin before turning back to her ingredients. I refocus on my own station and add the sugar. The only thing left is to add the honey. How much water do I use to dilate the honey? You mean dilute? Also, wasn't it 5 tablespoons of honey and 2.5 tablespoons of water? Yes, look at me go. I add 2.5 tablespoons of water.
Once you
awesome.
add the last of your flour, mix the ingredients until combined. Be careful not to overmix. Pour the batter into your pan and let it bake for 35 minutes.
As instructed, I add the last of my flour to the mixture and continue to mix it. What counts as overmixing anyway? How do I know if I've mixed just the right amount or too much? Using my wooden spoon, I poke around to see if there are any flour chunks still left. Nope. I guess that means my batter is ready to go in the oven. I set the timer for 35 minutes. 35 minutes. Now just to wait and see. That's actually kind of cool how you were supposed to memorize those things, but luckily, being the intellectual type, I was just able to pick it out. But I actually feel I could have gotten them anyway. I had the 2.5 minutes, or not 2.5 minutes, 2.5 tablespoons. I had the 35 minutes. I think the only one I would have questioned at all was 160 minutes because, or not 160 minutes, 160 degrees, because I wasn't sure at that point that I was supposed to have memorized it. Like when I was talking about writing things down, if you didn't know, that was a joke. So, once my timer dings, I carefully remove the cake from the oven. It baked unevenly, so some of the side is spilling over the pan. Oh no, it did. I think it might be a little darker on one side too. Does that mean it's burned? Guess only one way to find out. Why is it? No, it should be perfect. I got everything right. I pry it out of the pan and put it on my plate. Some of the edges got stuck to the parchment paper when I removed it, so there are patches of yellow exposed under the darkish brown layer. Yuna carefully sets her cake on her plate. It's a perfect loaf with a golden brown on top and light yellow sides. She glances over at my cake and hides her smile with a cough. The instructor begins his taste test in my row at the back of the classroom. He reaches me before Yuna.
It didn't quite come out the way you expected, did it? But let's see how it tastes.
Thanks for rubbing it in, club host. He puts a forkful of cake in his mouth. His eyes light up in a smile.
This is absolutely delightful!
Yay, I did it. Really?
Let me try.
Yuna stands right beside me, staring curiously at my cake. She tries a small piece.
Oh, wow. This is so good.
I'm good at what I do. I beam. Nikki's going to be so surprised. The instructor stops at Yuna's station next.
This is a beautiful cake. I can't wait to see how it tastes.
So I bet if it looks beautiful, it doesn't taste as good. Yuna's face lights up in anticipation as the instructor takes a bite. He pauses, straining to keep his face calm, then gulps heavily.
How is it?
Her voice trembles with hope. The instructor's voice is hoarse as he chokes out his next words.
Practice makes perfect.
What?
Let me try. I take a bite.
How is it?
It's like if sugar and plaster had a baby together and let it sit out in the sun until every drop of moisture was baked out of it. How do I put this nicely? It doesn't taste how it looks. I wish I could untaste it. It doesn't taste how it looks. Well, at least you've still got your looks.
Excuse me?
The cake! The cake! I mean, at least the cake looks delicious, even though it's not.
Can it really be so bad?
Yuna grabs her fork and stuffs a piece in her mouth. She grimaces, then sighs deeply.
Practice does make perfect.
The instructor moves on to another station while Yuna pouts at her rejected cake. Well, aside from the result of your baking, what did you think of this class?
It was fun, but surprisingly challenging.
Yeah, I'm not good at baking at all. She glances at her cake again and mutters under her breath.
Where did I go wrong?
You going to stick with this as your new extracurricular activity?
I don't know. I want to keep checking out other clubs.
Makes sense.
It looks like other students are trying each other's cakes. You want to try some?
Of yours or theirs? Sure. Yuna and I walk around the room and try some of the other cakes with varying results. Once we tasted all of them, we head out. My phone rings unexpectedly. It's Valerie. Hello?
I've got a surprise for you. Come to the hangar.
Alright. What is... She hung up. Of course she hung up. I guess I better go see what's up. After I swipe myself into the hangar, I make a beeline for Eagle. Valerie is perched in front of my terminal, but jumps up when she sees me. She moves from the terminal and gestures for me to sit.
Voila!
I stare at the scrolling code on the screen. She's got to stop acting like I can read this stuff, but she successfully hacked into it, I assume? What is this?
It's a manual documentation. Needs to be cleaned up before it can be fully understood, though.
So you called me over to show me something that's not complete? Valerie crosses her arms.
I thought you'd be able to appreciate the magnitude of this discovery.
I'm not trying to downplay the importance of this.
Besides, my script is parsing it as we speak. It'll be done in a few minutes.
Alright then, awesome. We wait patiently for her program to finish running. I watch as she keeps an eye on her script. She's confident in her program, yet keeps glancing at it, exposing the eagerness beneath her calm demeanor. I can't help but wonder. how did you get into engineering?
Girls can't be engineers.
I never said that. That's not what I said. Valerie laughs.
It's like a puzzle.
What?
Taking things apart and putting it back together. Finding new ways to piece everything together to make it a better product. The possibilities are endless, even if we can't see all the solutions just yet.
Fair enough. And you just discovered that by accident? She shrugs and becomes strangely aloof.
Things broke around the house a lot. If I didn't fix it, then it would be broken forever.
I see, gotcha. Why not just buy a new one?
It always worked fine once fixed. Why spend that extra money?
Yeah? But why did you have to fix it? Why not your parents? She frowns in disdain.
My mom couldn't be bothered with things like that. If the computer broke, she'd pretend the problem didn't exist until she needed to use it. Then she'd go and buy a new one because she needed to use it immediately.
Right.
Money was always tight, and that's why I started trying to fix things.
We'll go you helping out.
The first thing I ever properly fixed was my bike. I was 15, and my neighbor at the time was a young woman at university. She helped me fix it, and when she learned I was interested in this stuff, she gave me a bunch of how-to books for my birthday.
Aw, that's sweet of her. I guess I was lucky that my dad was pretty handy. He taught me how to take care of my things. Valerie grins playfully.
Could have fooled me. Eagle's always a little worse for wear by the time he gets to me. Isn't that right, Eagle?
Hey, don't use that familiar tone with my baby. She coos affectionately at my gear. It's not a puppy. A sharp beep interrupts our conversation. Valerie whips back towards the screen.
It's done.
Valerie and I both lean to get a better look at the screen. I turn my hand to ask her a question when her hair brushes my cheek. It's soft and smells like flowers. I hadn't realized how close we were to each other till now. Valerie's too focused on the screen to notice. Her slender fingers dance across the keyboard.
Oh, this makes a lot of sense.
Oh, does it, yeah? What makes a lot of sense?
Why your core only activated that one time? The function of the core was set to debug mode with a single run instance.
Oh, yeah. English, please, okay.
The overdrive mode was meant to be used for testing purposes, so it was set to only activate once.
Oh, what does that mean?
It means if we can figure out how to change the setting and find out the parameters of activation, you could use the overdrive mode on demand.
That would be really good. My eyes widen as I consider the possibilities. Are you serious?
Yeah, in theory anyway.
Would that possibly damage it, though? She squints at the code.
That's not even the best part. Here are blueprints with algorithms and formulas.
Whoa. What do they say? Valerie puts a finger to her lip.
It seems to be incomplete, but we might be able to use this and a bit of reverse engineering to fill in the gaps. If we can figure this out, we can understand the details of the core.
Good stuff. If only women came with a manual too. Can we have it ready for the next match? Good stuff. I'll just say that, yeah. You're kind of amazing. She grins.
About time you noticed.
Aw. Why did Dad include this function for my core? And why didn't he tell me? I have so many questions and too few answers. Let's keep this a secret.
A secret?
Yeah, there's no point in getting the team's hopes up if we don't even know if this will work. Or when we don't even know if this will work. Plus, I don't need anyone snooping around my gear. I look pointedly at Valerie. She smiles innocently.
What? That's what brought us together. Are you saying you wish you'd never met me?
Of course not, but one Valerie is more than enough. She smirks.
Don't I feel special?
As you should. Valerie gets to work and I watch her for a while. She's working too fast for me to comprehend what she's doing, and I don't want to interrupt her groove to explain it to me. After a few minutes, she glances back at me.
You really do like to watch, don't you?
Huh?
First it was Sho and Mayu at the beach, now me.
Oh, you're bringing that up. I didn't watch them. Her eyes sparkle.
So you just like watching me then? Too bad this isn't that interesting.
Would you like to change that? I'm just kidding. I have Coyote. After saying goodbye, I leave her to do her thing. I've still got some time before I head home tonight. What do I feel like doing? I could just go right back to Valerie. It's been a while since we've seen anything with Sho, and since we just had that Valerie moment, let's go see what Sho's up to. I feel productive today, but I don't want to hit the books and study just yet. I know a good way to channel this energy. I'll work out at the gym. Yes, I will be buff man! Other than my physical education class, I haven't been getting any exercise. Ah, life. I need to get back into a solid routine. Yeah, you say that, and then you never do it. I made myself sad. I head to the rec center and get changed in the lockers. As I make my way to the weight room, I pass by the gymnasium. Normally it's empty, but today it's full of people. Is there a class going on right now? Unable to curb my curiosity, I peek into the room. The gym is decked out with equipment. Balance beams, still rings, parallel bars, uneven bars, pommel horse, etc. I can't see the floor beneath a layer of blue mats. Students seem to fly and flip from all corners of the room. My mouth drops open in wonder as I spot a very familiar face hanging on the still rings. Sho! At the sound of his name, Sho turns towards the sound of my voice and loses his grip. I wince as he comes crashing onto the mat below. After a second, he gets up and rubs his head, then looks at me. My bad, such grace, much elegant, whoops. I think he can take that. I clap slowly. I'll give that fall a solid 5 out of 7. Sho frowns.
Not funny, man. I was going for a personal record.
What are you doing here? Sho wipes the sweat off his face with his towel.
Trying to balance on the still rings.
No, I mean, I didn't exactly picture you as a gymnastics type of guy.
Why not? It helps with staying fit, build strength, flexibility, core training.
That is the one thing I think, like, if I could go back, like, way back into my childhood and, you know, change something for myself, I would have done gymnastics, I think. Because that stuff, yeah, I agree with all that. A pair of girls walk by us wearing the Ace Academy gym wear. Their stomachs are completely flat and they have perky features. They flash their smiles as they walk by.
Flexibility.
You already said that. You already said that one.
Did I?
His attention is on another group of girls practicing their splits in the corner. And that has nothing to do with it? He grins.
It's a bonus.
I'm pretty sure that's the main course for you.
I will neither confirm nor deny that.
Fair enough. We both grin.
Plus, you're competing with yourself to always be better.
Huh?
You set personal records for yourself, and then the next time you come, you try to beat them.
I'm not entirely sure where he's going with this. Like how long you can hold yourself up? I guess.
That's just step one. Once you're comfortable just holding your weight, then you start doing tricks like handstands. It's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah, and I think it's hard, so. He motions towards the still bars.
Try it.
Sure. I psych myself up. Alright, well, let's do it. I'm like clapping, you know, I'm like going in, and then I fall flat.
That's the spirit.
I jump and catch the still rings, letting my body hang. The rings wobble around as I try to pull myself up. Whoa, this is a lot harder than I thought it'd be.
Use your core.
I squeeze my core tight and try to do a pull-up. The rings shake precariously. I have to hold them. Just don't panic and keep it steady. I'll do it this time. Steady! I manage to steady myself, and after finding my center of balance, I slowly do 3 pull-ups in a row. Sho watches on with interest. Afterwards, I let go and drop to my feet.
You sure you haven't done this before? You were a pro.
I grin. Nope, I knew I had nothing to worry about. Piece of cake.
So,
A girl I don't recognize waves at Sho as she races over.
how's it going?
Hey, Tommy.
She looks me up and down. She smiles with interest.
Who's your impressive friend?
Maybe I should have wobbled.
You saw him too?
She nods.
Hitomi, meet Brosif. Brosif, meet Hitomi.
She blinks.
Broseph?
Sho nods and beams. It's Riz.
Whoa, really?
Why is he surprised? I nod slowly. He rubs his chin in thought.
I've been calling you Brosif for so long I forgot.
Did you really though, or are you playing right now? Hitomi laughs and playfully touches Sho's arm.
That's adorable.
Because the thing is, if he actually forgot, well, like, he calls his dorm mates Brosif too, so... Sho beams.
I'm just about done. How about you?
I'm almost done too.
Okay, I'm going to start packing. Come find me when you want to head out.
Sho nods. Hitomi smiles at him and then waves at me. What's her relationship with him? The fact that she's silhouetted makes me think it's not too essential, but yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Same. She bounces out of the gym. I assume she's going to change in the locker room. You two know each other well?
Kind of. We met in this class. Her dorm building is actually the one next to mine.
Well, that's convenient. Yeah. That's pretty coincidental.
I know, right? Anyway, we ran into each other once, and when she realized we lived so close together, she insisted that we walk back together ever since.
That's pretty cool. The way that she acts towards Sho, it's obvious that she has more than a casual interest in him. Of course, knowing Sho, that fact isn't obvious to him. Yeah, not my business. I don't want to stick my nose where it doesn't belong. Alright, man, sounds like you'll be heading off soon, and I still have to go work out. Like, I don't want to ruin a Sho Mayu thing, you know, because they seemed pretty close and stuff, and it seemed like they had a chance. I don't want to ruin it. So, Sho nods.
It was good seeing you.
And then I'd hate to, if telling Sho made, like, if that ruined his relationship with her. I don't want to have a repeat Kaori Mei situation with, you know, Hitomi. Yes, I'll think about it. Sho gives me a brosive fist bump and we head our separate ways. I go work out until it's time to head home. The house is quiet when I get home. Uncle Kaito is still working his crazy hours and Nikki's probably still at her club. Stifling a yawn, I trudge upstairs. It's been a long day and all I want to do is relax. As I pass by Nikki's room, I notice her door is closed. Huh, I guess she is home after all. I think nothing of it until I hear a deep, extremely male laugh behind Nikki's closed door. Nikki's giggle shortly follows. What is this? There's a boy in Nikki's room? And they're behind closed doors? Not on my watch. It's not even an option. I burst into the room. Nikki's eyes widen and her mouth drops open. The boy twists to look at me from the chair beside the bed. There's a boy in your room!
What are you doing?
Who is this guy? Is this Ken? Is this Ken Yen? Nikki leaps from the bed and tries to push me away, but I stay rooted to the ground. Is this Ken? I turn to the guy, ignoring Nikki pulling on my arm. Are you Ken? He freezes like a deer in headlights and stammers out in affirmation.
Yes?
Ken Yen Cookie. That's awesome.
Leave him alone. We're just studying.
It's a cute picture all around. Like both of their expressions, just the artwork and everything. It's just cute. Studying? Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
Yes! What? No! Studying as in studying!
She points to her bed. I take another look around the room. Nikki's bed is sprawled with books, tablets, and laptops. Ken is holding an open textbook in his lap. That's a lie! A look of pure terror on his face. I'm not fooled. I know underneath that good kid facade there's a demon just waiting to pounce on my cute, innocent Imoto.
Ken is in my class and we have an exam next week.
I glare at Ken, who cowers from my stare.
So, now that you know nothing weird is happening, get out!
That's not what you said. I cross my arms. Actually, I think I'll stay and help you two study.
What?
Whatever you're learning now, I already studied.
Don't you have your own homework you can do? We're studying fine without you.
His face. Are you sure about that? I think Ken here would appreciate the help. I glare at Ken, who gulps hard and nods.
Actually, it would be an honor to have the help of an ace pilot.
No, it wouldn't.
I narrow my eyes at Ken. Very suspicious. Got my eyes on you. Don't try anything silly. Move him out of the room. Fine.
Does that mean you'll leave now?
I never break eye contact with Ken. I'm watching you, so whatever you're thinking, don't. Ken nods rapidly, clearly shaken.
I won't. I mean, I'm not thinking. I mean, not like that.
I give him one final glare before walking out of the room. Nikki goes to close the door. Door open. She rolls her eyes.
Fine, if it'll make you stop being crazy.
Before I leave, I make the universal "I'm watching you" sign with my fingers. Ken's eyes widen even further. I only had one option there, and all of the options were to intimidate Ken, so I guess that's just how the story is. Luckily, my room is across from Nikki's. I leave my door open too while I try to work on my assignments. I'm too distracted to focus as I strain to hear what they're talking about. Every so often I hear them repeat a math formula or compare answers on equations. Huh, I guess they really are studying. This time! Eventually, I give up and watch videos on MeTube. After about 2 hours, Ken goes home. Nikki slams the door shut to her room. Sheesh, what's her problem? What do you think is her problem? Now that I can finally focus again, I finish up my assignments and easily fall asleep afterwards. Alright, I'm actually going to call this session here, so we're going to quick save, and then I believe quick save complete, but I think prefs, yeah, save. So we'll save in this slot right here. Cool. So we'll talk a little bit about this session before I officially end it. Just about that, yeah, I think if I were given options from the beginning, I wouldn't have like barged into their room, you know, like, okay, like I would have been curious. I probably would have gone close to the wall, like close to the door, and listened in to see what they were talking about. But I think that siblings deserve a little bit more trust than that. I mean, just kind of people in general. Maybe I give people too much credit, but you know, I would want to trust Nikki in that situation. The only thing that I would really, I mean, I would probably step in if I thought that things were going too far, or especially if I thought that, you know, Ken had wanted to do things that Nikki had wanted to do, you know, regardless of how casual the thing may have seemed, how, you know, petty or whatever. Because consent is important, everyone. Learn that. But Nikki absolutely, you know, was comfortable and wanted things to pursue, or at least wanted me out of her face. And so if I had been given options, I would have respected that more than the in-game me did. But there were no options. Again, the only time I had options during that last bit were involving like 2 intimidation things and then 1 actually moving Ken out of her room. And I definitely wasn't going to do that. So I tried to choose like the least, you know, aggressive thing. Where, you know, it's more their choice. It's more, again, like, I trust my little sister, so I'm gonna let this happen, but there was only so much I could do there. To go back to other things that happened this session, not a lot really jumps out at me. I think the biggest thing in this entire session was the whole, the match and Coyote and her and May, that whole story hook kind of thing. So I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did. I'm glad that I was able to, you know, go after Coyote when she stormed off and actually help her feel a little bit better. Hopefully that'll make us grow a little bit closer too, because I'm still interested in, you know, pursuing her the most as the dating option here. And at this point, my second highest dating option, you know, so if I had to rank people, I'm not going to go through them all, but just, you know, Coyote is number 1, and then Valerie. Actually, even though I'm still somewhat suspicious of her, and I still definitely, you know, disapprove of a number of things that she's done, I do like her like the second most of all the other girls, I believe. And I definitely, I expressed this at the time, you know, I definitely disagreed with Coyote and how she handles everything with May, but now they seem cool, so that's awesome. But I definitely disagreed with how she treated May. I disagreed with how often she snaps at people. I definitely disagreed with her decisions during the match, and I stand by my decision of intervening and everything. I think that Mayu and Sho were justifiably upset, but I am glad that they, you know, they remained good friends and, you know, a good team, and they cared more about how she felt in the end than the fact that they weren't in the wrong and everything. And I am really glad that Coyote owned up to it too in the end, that she said we had nothing to be sorry about, that that it was her fault and everything. And then again, the most important part I think is just that they're cool now. You know, after owning it, she went, and it seems like she and May made up, you know, a little bit more. I also agree with, I totally support Coyote and how she, like, you know, beat that guy at the beach. Like, she's very much against sexual harassment, and like, hey, that's awesome. Like, I'm totally in favor of that. So yeah, if you feel that you're being, you know, like, harassed, sure. Like, by all means, stand up for yourself. If you think that other people are, especially if they can't do it, like, do anything about it themselves, or if they're unaware, like, yeah, stand up for them. That's awesome. So I did approve of that at the beach and whatnot. I'm kind of surprised we didn't talk about it any more than that. Speaking of the beach, so while they're on that, again, I didn't love how they had the whole thing so much about, like Yuna's chest and all of that. Especially again when it decides what my character finds attractive. So just, you know, kind of unfortunate. Just because I can't exactly relate to my character as much that way. A lot of the perversion and, you know, a lot of the decisions, like with the tutoring thing at the very end too, or not tutoring, but the studying session between Nikki and Ken, that kind of stuff. It takes me out a little bit, because throughout a lot of this playthrough, you know, I'm being able to, I'm petting my cat at the same time right now. I'm being able to relate to the character, and I'm trying to make decisions, you know, based upon like what I would do in that situation, or at least what I think that he would do in that situation, based upon how I've been trying to build him up or how he's presented himself. But there are still a lot of times where bold decisions are made or like defining thoughts are had that I don't really have control over. And so it's a little difficult sometimes. So I kind of just have to take a step back now and then, because I understand it's really hard to make a purely, you know, relatable character without them just being flat and boring and nothing, you know? I mean, I guess you kind of get that in a number of novels where in order to try to get you more immersed in the story, they make the character, you know, like really reflecting kind of. But that often just comes across as like bland. So yeah, so I understand the struggle. It's just unfortunately one of the side effects is that kind of disconnect that I talked about. But yes, I'm still enjoying this game. I hope that you guys are enjoying this too. I will be playing more of it, but there may be, as I talked about at the end of like a few episodes ago, I don't remember how many at this point, but it talked about, you know, moving and like the internship and everything. That still should be going on by the time this video is out. So, you know, I apologize for the gap between videos and such, and I apologize if there is a longer gap after this point, but I'm doing what I can. So yes, I don't think there's anything else to say, so alright, with that, we're calling it here.